Will the Euro USD give us some relief this week to test 110, or is the US dollar going to stay strong and push the euro lower? That's what we're talking about in today's video. I'll show you guys how I'm trading this one, what it's going to come down to as to whether or not we see some relief for the euro, and also my targets for later this month. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. And if you guys saw Saturday's weekly forecast, this is going to look very familiar to you. But in today's video, though, I want to kind of break down what exactly I'm looking for from the Euro USD, especially with regard to that October trend line that we've talked about. Okay, so looking here at the Euro USD daily time frame, this, in my opinion, is what it's going to come down to. So we have this area of confluence right around 1.088. Now, the confusing part about this is that the euro has traded above and below this level over the past few months. So this is our level right here that we're looking at. And as you can see, it's traded both above and below this level ever since November. So a breakdown here, while it is, potentially significant, it's really going to come down to, in my opinion, this trend line off of those early October lows. So we discussed this over the weekend, and notice through here, you can see where the euro never closed a day below this. So it is significant. Now, the one thing about this trend line is make sure that you are in linear mode if you're using TradingView. All right, so TradingView has two modes, or at least two popular modes. That is going to be regular or linear and logarithmic. If you're in logarithmic, you're going to see that it doesn't quite touch this low down here. And if you drag it up, then it kind of becomes debatable whether last week closed below or not. However, again, if you go to regular or linear, you're going to see that this trend line does actually hold up and that the euro actually never closed last week below it. All right, so notice here, we've got these lows back here. We've got this one here. You could even draw it a little bit higher, and still last week never actually closed a day below it, because this close right here on Thursday was right on the level. So this was not a confirmed breakdown. So here's what this is going to come down to. And before we get to that though, be sure to show your support, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon for notifications, because I am putting out 6 of these videos every week. So make sure that you don't miss out. All right, so the daily time frame is where it's at here for the euro. It's not just about the fact that this trend line also shows well here on the daily. However, it's also about a daily closing basis. I talk about that a lot here on this channel. And what you're going to notice here is that, again, last week never closed below. Okay, so intraday breaks do not matter here. If you go down to something like the 1 hour, you can see where the market was all over the place last week with regard to that trend line. Even if you go to the 4 hour time frame, still same thing. The market was all over the place with regard to that trend line. Now, the interesting thing about this is the 12 hour. Okay, technically, if you draw the 12 hour from the very low of this wick down here, you could make the case that the 12 hour is also respecting this level, because notice how we never really got a close below this level last week. Okay, but with the 12 hour though, like in this case, the 12 hour closes in 6 hours, so it's the same time as the daily close. So you're essentially talking about the same thing there. All right, at least with regard to the current time. Now, we know that the daily close is going to be critical. So what that means is that as long as the Euro USD is above this trend line down here on a daily closing basis, okay, there is that chance that we see a run up here toward these highs. Now, one thing I have mentioned recently, if we do see some follow through here, where we see the euro start to take out these highs up here, and we start to see some bullish momentum instead of the market just going sideways, there is that chance that we get the retest of 110, because you can see back here, this was resistance at the end of 2023. We got the late 2023 move up. This became a fake out with that January 2nd close back below. Now, this area up here became resistance. However, these two highs never really gave us a full retest of that level. These are also what are called equal highs, and markets do tend to take those out. All right, so one scenario that I'm keeping an eye on here is the euro potentially taking out these equal highs. Notice if you draw a level across these two, they are essentially equal. However, again, is this a case where I'm going to go buy the euro just because it's at support? No, it's not a case where I'm going to buy this market just because I trade fake outs. I like the high probability of fake outs and also the risk reward, which, the fake out here for the euro was back here, right? This candle right here was the fake out. So if you were shorting through this area, that was a nice little short, and it could continue, right? But this area up here is where you want to look for shorts, not down here. And as for buys, I don't buy just at support. I don't think that there's an edge there. All right, in my 10 plus years of trading the forex market, I haven't found an edge in just, buying support, selling resistance, although that is part of how I trade, or how any good trader should trade. So looking at the euro, really above this area here, there is that chance we get the retest up in this region, at which time, in my opinion, I think that is a short. If we get the close below here, All right, so a sustained break below this on the daily time frame, then that opens up areas like 1.0755. Okay, so that right there, given the significance of that trend line and the way that the Euro USD is holding above this area, I do think that a daily close down here, something convincing, would flip this area to resistance and expose some lower levels. All right, now let's take a look at the DXY here on Monday, see what it's doing so far this week. And by the way, if you do want to join us in the VIP group, guys, for daily videos, exclusive charts and setups, and also to see my trades in real time, plus you're going to get access to the course coming out this month, see the link at the top of this video for 70% off lifetime access. Okay, so looking at the dollar, the DXY, this is what we talked about on Saturday, and this is why it's so incredibly important to keep these levels on your chart, and why I favor looking at the DXY, analyzing the DXY, in combination with things like the euro and the pound, and really any major currency pair, simply because this is a basket of currencies. So you get a nice kind of blended rate here with the DXY, and this can help you trade things like the Euro USD. So this essentially moves inversely to the euro, and what you'll notice here is 103.10. This is the level that I talked about on Saturday, where we have these lows back here. We've got some lows right through this area. We've got this high. And notice where today's low comes in. Okay, so if you'll notice here, today's low is, let's see here, it is 103.11. Okay, so 103.10 was the key level that I mentioned over the weekend. 103.10 is today's low. Now, that could obviously get taken out. Okay, but the key here for the DXY is going to be to hold above this if we're going to see a stronger dollar. You want to see it hold above this on a daily closing basis, but more importantly, we need to see that convincing break above 103.50. Okay, that daily close above this area to flip this back to support and expose 104.20. That right there, if we got it, that would push the Euro USD lower. Now, alternatively, like I mentioned over the weekend, if we see the market start to break below areas like 103.10, then that's going to open up 102.60, which is very much a must-hold level for dollar bulls. All right, so it's still up in the air now, but you can see where these two levels, 103.10, 103.50, this is really the range right now for the dollar. And make no mistake, like I mentioned in Saturday's forecast, this area up here, if we look at a 12-month chart, this area up here at 103.50 is incredibly significant, going all the way back here to 2016. So every candle on this chart is a 12-month period. So 1 year, and you can see how significant this area has been. Okay, so this is going to be a big hurdle for the dollar. So if the euro has any chance of reaching back toward 110, okay, it has to occur with the DXY below 103.50. Because if we see the DXY break above 103.50 up here and target 104.20, then you've got the euro trading well below this area. All right, so you can kind of get a feel for how I use the DXY in combination with the Euro USD for confluence, right? You could just trade the Euro USD on its own, and you could do very well. However, combining the DXY into your analysis is going to give you that extra bit of confidence when trading the euro, because it's either going to confirm what you're seeing here, or it's going to make you pause and maybe look at things a different way that's going to be beneficial to your trading. Now, as for the euro and what could push it out of this range, there really isn't much on the event calendar here. If we look at the Forex Factory calendar, you can see where, today we have some BOJ event risk coming up here in the form of a rate decision. Tomorrow we have, again, some more BOJ events, which, really these are all kind of grouped together. And then we have some minor USD events, some New Zealand CPI. However, this right here on Wednesday, okay, this is what to watch here for the euro, because we do have a ton of PMI coming out of Europe. Okay, so this is going to be something to watch here for the Euro USD on Wednesday, because I think that this is going to finally give us that break either below this trend line here to target lower levels, or we finally get that push up here toward the 110 area. All right, personally, I am still cautiously bullish on the dollar. However, like I said over the weekend, I think that below 110, you've got to be careful. This is not the time to get bullish on the dollar, because it's all about timing. I was getting bullish on the dollar back here when it broke above 101.90. So as long as it's above 102.60 down here on a daily closing basis, I think that the overall structure here looks, pretty bullish for the dollar, but it does have to hold above 102.60. But again, as far as a short-term bias, right now below 103.50, in my opinion, this is kind of a dangerous time to be bullish on the dollar, just because of the significance of that level going back to 2016. All right, I hope today's video was helpful. If it was, be sure to smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to claim your 70% off VIP access. See the link in the description. Or if you want an alternate method to joining VIP, you can join my broker, click the link on this screen, deposit $500 or more, and then let me know you've done it and I will give you lifetime access. All right, trade well this week. I will talk to you again tomorrow.